Media.
Welcome back to Behind the Bastards, ladies, gentlemen, gentlethems, and all points in between. This is a podcast about the very worst people in all of history. And normally, it's a podcast where I, the host, Robert Evans, read a story about the very worst people in all of history to a guest who generally comes in cold, not always, yada yada. We've been doing this 8 years. You know the drill, folks.
You've figured it out by now. Even I know the drill by now.
And regular listeners will recognize the voice of my dear friend, Greazy Will. The Grammy Award-winning Greazy Will.
Hey, buddy.
What's up? How's it going? I'm very excited to be here because today we are going to flip the roles here, and
that's right,
and
baby.
I'm going to tell you about somebody who's very near and dear to my heart, a bastard of the music industry, and I'm very excited about this.
Yeah, but I have a question first.
Yeah.
Greazy Will, who I love, my buddy. Do you know where this is being streamed right now?
Oh, are we on Netflix?
We're on Netflix. Yeah, our good buddy Greazy Will here, the second we announced that we were going to be streaming video episodes on Netflix, commented sellouts. So what does that make you? That's what I have to say.
My friend of 15 years.
Look, when I was a kid, being a sellout was an insult. But now as an adult, the world that we're in, being a sellout just means you're successful. You know, it's exciting for me. Yeah.
Just means you get to buy the good produce.
Are there other ways I made money in the past that I might have preferred more? Are there different ways to, this is the future we've been given. Look,
you're talking to a guy who, all right, so I have a recording course that I made. And recently I posted this ad that I had made with a high quality camera like the one you're viewing me on right now, if you are in fact viewing me. With a high quality camera, and all the comments were people like, Greazy in high def is weird, I don't like it. So
welcome to our lives. Welcome
you
to our lives.
Specifically?
I do not do high quality in anything I do. In music, in anything.
It's perfect, Will, because I reached the peak of my success as a professional in an audio medium, and you also reached the peak of your success as a professional in an audio medium.
Yes.
And the powers that be in their wisdom decided, we got to put these guys on TV. People need to see their faces for some reason. I don't know.
Yes.
When we moved to Netflix, a surprising number of people were, just based on confusion or based on the fact that it changed from YouTube, were like, I was like, I didn't realize that many people were watching the podcast.
Right,
but, we've been working on it. We have gotten it to where audio episodes of the show are back on YouTube Music. So if you listen to the show that way, I know there was confusion. Things got disrupted there for a while, but from now on, that should be normal. And initially, a lot of our international viewers were cut out because Netflix wasn't letting. Our show wasn't available internationally.
Damn region-specific broadcasts.
Yeah. Now our show is available on most of the places that Netflix serves.
Worldwide, baby. Yeah, minus Vietnam and Korea for reasons I don't know.
So the Aussies out there, you can watch now if you've got Netflix. I don't know. Again, 90% of the audience listens because it's a fucking podcast. So hopefully none of this should be changing for most of you.
Yeah.
Who are we hearing about today, Will? What piece of shit are you going to tell me about? I know, but...
All right, so let me ask you this first. If you had a Mount Rushmore of horrible music people, right? Like whoever you could think of, who's your George Washington?
It's got to be Michael Jackson, because Michael's the perfect mix of that man's music. You simply can't cut his music out of popular culture and have it make sense. There's too big a gap. Like he made the impact he made is there, and a bunch of his music is immortal, and also definitely raped a bunch of kids. Ton of kids.
Yeah.
So that's like my peak bastard, maybe.
Yeah.
I can give my four.
Yeah, go ahead, Sophie.
Four: Michael Jackson, R. Kelly, P. Diddy, and the subject of this episode.
That's okay. All right. So I'm going to tell y'all, I don't think the subject of my episode makes it on the bastards Mount Rushmore of
fired,
musicians,
Sophie.
right? And here's why. Here's why. Because You want to hear, because number one is Ian Watkins. Do you guys know who Ian Watkins is?
No.
Ian Watkins was recently I was going to bring this up even before, but Ian Watkins was recently murdered in prison because they don't like those types of people who do those things to infants. Infants. He was the singer of Lost. Yeah, he was the singer of Lost Prophets. And it's interesting that you bring this up.
I have heard of this guy, yes.
So it was interesting that you brought it because I do have a question, and my overall thesis in discussing this person is, when is it bad enough to cut somebody out, and when does their music overshadow the big picture, right? Because we so often in the music industry, we will give people weird passes. Weird people get weird passes just because they're good at something. You know, they're good at making noise. That's kind of ridiculous to me. I do not think that makes a lot of sense. But
people really love your noises, so you're allowed to molest 15-year-olds.
Yes.
Or younger.
So our subject today is somebody who I think is horrible, and you will hear a lot of evidence to that effect. Back that up, yes. But our subject today is Phil Spector. Phil Spector. Do you know about Phil Spector at all? Like, what do you know, Robert, of Phil Spector?
Here's how much I know about Phil Spector. In order to even listen to this podcast, I had to make sure I had a gun on me. Like,
that's Christ, Robert.
Because I know Phil's bringing one.
Yes. Yeah, Phil is definitely bringing a gun to the party, for sure.
Okay.
All right,
let's do it.
This will be our episode today. We're going to talk about Phil Spector. Boom, cold open, done. We did it.
We're done. We're opened coldly.
Wow. Look at you. Prettiest girl at the party. I love it.
This is an iHeart podcast. Guaranteed human.
You're listening to a podcast, so you're doing something else too, like maybe scrolling home listings on Redfin, saving places you like without thinking you'll get them, because that's what house hunting has become. But Redfin isn't built for endless browsing. It's built to help you find and own a home. Redfin agents close twice as many deals as other agents, which means when you find a place you love, you've got a real shot at getting it. Redfin helps turn saved listings into real addresses. Get started at redfin.com. Own the dream.
Support for the show comes from Public, the investing platform for those who take it seriously. On Public, you can build a multi-asset portfolio of stocks, bonds, options, crypto, and now generated assets, which allow you to turn any idea into an investable index with AI. It all starts with your prompt. From renewable energy companies with high free cash flow to semiconductor suppliers growing revenue over 20% year over year, you can literally type any prompt and put the AI to work. It screens thousands of stocks, builds a one-of-a-kind index, and lets you backtest it against the S&P 500. Then you can invest in a few clicks. Generated assets are like ETFs with infinite possibilities, completely customizable and based on your thesis, not someone else's. Go to public.com/podcast and earn an uncapped 1% bonus when you transfer your portfolio. That's public.com/podcast. Paid for by Public Investing. Brokerage services by Open to the Public Investing Inc. Member FINRA and SIPC. Advisory services by Public Advisors LLC, SEC registered advisor. Generated assets is an interactive analysis tool. Output is for informational purposes only and is not an investment recommendation or advice. Complete disclosures available at public.com/disclosures.
Do you want to find a stress-free way to buy your next car? Start at CarMax and shop your way. And if you want to browse with confidence, get pre-qualified online with no impact on your credit score and shop cars within your budget. From luxury cars to family rides, CarMax has options for almost every price range, including more than 25,000 cars priced under $25,000. So, hey, want to get started? Just head to CarMax.com for details and get pre-qualified today. Want to drive? CarMax.
Ryan Reynolds here from Mint Mobile with a message for everyone paying big wireless way too much. Please, for the love of everything good in this world, stop. With Mint, you can get premium wireless for just $15 a month. Of course, if you enjoy overpaying, no judgments, but that's weird. Okay, one judgment. Anyway, give it a try at mintmobile.com/switch.
Upfront payment of $45 for 3-month plan, equivalent to $15 per month required. Intro rate first 3 months only, then full price plan options available. Taxes and fees extra. See full terms at mintmobile.com.
All right. Are you guys ready to hear about Phil Spector?
I was born ready. Well, actually, I was born bloody with a cord wrapped around my neck, but also ready.
Were you in fact a cord baby?
Nah.
That explains a lot,
Maybe.
I think.
I don't remember. My mom was in labor for like 70 hours. Something was wrong with me.
My God.
I think I was...
Yeah, she had a chip on her shoulder about that. It might have just been 48 hours. It was like a long time.
And in perfect comparison of our relationship, my mom was in labor with me for less than an hour.
I think my mom had
that
me
makes sense.
inside of the back of a pickup truck, but I don't know. Or like a camper, maybe? I think I was born in a camper.
You are one of my friends most likely to be born inside of a pickup truck.
Oh my God.
Yes,
I
very
say as
likely.
an honor.
So first off, I want to say this is why I picked Phil Spector, and because I am personally a very big fan of his work. It has informed a lot of my work as a musician, as a producer, as an engineer. I love Phil Spector's work. To me, it was so groundbreaking for the time for many reasons, and there's a lot of like future of music that came from where he was at, and I like to do that game of like, oh, well, I like the Beatles, and the Beatles were really influenced by like what Brian Wilson and the Beach Boys were doing. And Brian Wilson loved Phil Spector, right? And so it's like, if you are a Beatles fan, you not only have heard Phil Spector's work, you've also you've also like been influenced by him indirectly through them loving, the chain of command that worked, right?
Or chain of custody.
So, yes. So Harvey Philip Spector, his name was not Phil, original Harvey. Harvey was his name. Harvey Philip Spector was born on December 26, 1939 in the Bronx, New York. That's at least what the birth records say. His mom claimed that he was born on Christmas Day because she honestly and truly, I think, maybe believed that he was the second coming of Christ. That was actually like...
Good start.
Cool.
Really, really like into it. So,
okay.
He had an older sister, Shirley, and an older brother who died just days after being born, who was born just before him, which is a bit why he got the ultimate Jewish mother protection system going on over him for his whole childhood.
Ooh, so he is wrapped up. There's a wall between him and the real world.
Yes, absolutely. There are unconfirmed theories regarding Spector's extended family structure. Some biographical accounts suggest his parents may have been closely related, possibly even first cousins, though this has never been definitively proven, but he said it all the time. He would tell people this. He'd be like, my parents were cousins. I was like, all right. Like, I guess randomly at like lunch on a Tuesday or something, he's bringing this stuff up.
Cool story, bro.
Yeah.
What is well documented is that both sides of his family were Jewish immigrants whose families fled. Let's take a break real quick. Robert, you want to play guess the country his Jewish relatives had to escape in the late 1800s to early 1900s?
Good one. I'm going to go with Poland.
Oh, so close. Very close. Very close. Probably, we don't know exactly, but probably Belarus or...
Belarus.
Yeah. Or Ukraine too. Ukraine too is possible. So you're in the right area.
A lot of people who are like, I don't know exactly what country they were in part because it was several countries over the period of time they lived there.
That's literally the description that's most often given is Eastern Europe. They fled Eastern Europe. Yeah.
He lived under 3 or 4 governments. Yeah,
absolutely. So, this is a very classic early 1900s American tale of, Jewish immigrant families leaving their country because of the anti-Semitic pogroms going on and then coming to America, settling in New York in a very Jewish neighborhood or being surrounded by other Jews who had escaped these same situations. So
the dream.
Obviously some generational trauma going on for sure to start off, and also family trauma, and also some questionable things going on with his mother already, as far as her mental stability is. So as a child, Spector was described as overweight and physically fragile. He struggled with recurring health problems and was often encouraged to stay indoors rather than participate in sports or outdoor activities. He developed a strong dislike for beaches, athletics, and physical competition, and any environment where he felt exposed and inadequate. Over time, his body changed. Yeah. He hates beaches.
Yeah, he hates beaches. That's my favorite tidbit of that whole thing. He's like, yeah, you know what I hate? I hate beach. You are not Ken, Phil Spector. Your job is not beach. Okay.
No joke, like multiple times throughout any of the biographies that you read about him, it's brought up that he doesn't like beaches, specifically beaches. He's like, oh yeah, Phil wouldn't go to Venice because there was a beach close by. Like he was like mad about it.
All right, bro.
As he entered adolescence, he lost weight dramatically and he became notably small and slight in stature. Instead of solving his insecurities, this transformation reinforced them. He remained physically unimposing, ill-suited for sports, and deeply self-conscious about his appearance and masculinity. As an adult, he would always joke that, like, when they were picking sports teams, that he wanted to be the manager. I'm the manager of the team today, you know, like right from, because he's like, I'm not gonna play sports. This is ridiculous.
What a weird little guy.
When Phil was 9 years old, his father, Benjamin Spector, died by suicide.
Ooh.
Yeah, we are going to have some classic bastard-style empathy to start off our show today.
That's tough. He's having a difficult start of things.
Yeah.
You know?
Yes, he's had it rough.
I'm sure this won't make him a monster.
Spoiler alert. His dad killed himself. So basically the story is his dad left the factory. He was like a metal worker, and he left the factory and started driving home and just parked a couple blocks away, put a hose in his tailpipe, and started sucking on some carbon monoxide fumes in his car.
Yeah.
And they don't really even know why he did it. Like he had financial stress, but
decided he was done. Yeah.
Yeah, it was the right time for that to be a normal thing, you know. Financial stress, business failures, depression, they've all been cited. Possible mental illness as well. Like there seems to be a very strong prevalence of that in Phil's life. Whatever the cause, the event shattered the whole family, right?
Sure.
So Bertha Spector becomes the central force in Phil's life, tightening her grip on her son's emotional and developmental trajectory. Alongside her was Phil's older sister, Shirley, who would exhibit as much control over issues over Phil as his mother did. Both of them would emotionally abuse Phil often. His mother would often disparage his father and blame young Phil for his death. So she's like over there,
great,
like your dad killed himself because of you. Before you, he was happy, and then you came along, and then he killed himself.
And that's the best thing for kids, right? Giving them that sense of agency and control. No, you killed your dad, and you can do anything you put your mind to, including kill your parents, which you already did, right?
Yeah, very impressive, bro. I couldn't kill my parents. All right, so she treated his father's death as a source of family shame as well, too. So it was like she never told the truth about it to anybody. Like if she met somebody and they're like, oh, he's off in Europe on business, or he died in the war. Like she's always like just making up other things and not saying, oh yeah, he killed himself or whatever. Which I mean, I guess I kind of understand. You know, it's not like I'm like, yeah, dude, stepmom killed herself, which is facts. You know, I guess I just did announce it to the world. Never mind. So yeah, obviously not a great start to life. He's small, he's frail, his dad kills himself. His mom and his sister are both super possessive and controlling over him. Pretty bastardsy start to the story.
Yeah.
Not long after Benjamin's death, Bertha relocated the family across the country to Los Angeles. This is where Phil decides he absolutely hates being called Harvey, and he starts going by his middle name, Phil.
Cool. All right.
The move placed them in the predominantly Jewish neighborhood of Fairfax, which this is just a stupid little aside, but all the kids called it, like in the neighborhoods, called it Fairyfax because it was like the weakest school around. They were like, so he's like the weakest kid at the weakest school.
Right,
you
right.
know?
Yeah, they're calling his school. They're basically calling his school gay in like the parlance of the times, right?
Which was
like,
absolutely not true when I was in high school because Fairfax beat our ass at basketball.
Well, it's good to hear that they I don't know. I don't know if it's good
turns
to
out
hear.
money does something long term.
Shocking.
So Phil struggled to make friends outside a small circle of family and school acquaintances, and he remained socially awkward and intensely sensitive and deeply dependent on maternal approval, obviously, on account of his mom and the way she is.
Yeah, the mommy issues.
His only advancement into social normalcy came as a result of his musicianship. He was said to be able to play any song that you heard on the radio. He'd hear it on the radio and could play it immediately. Like he could just start like playing along before the song even finished, right? During this time, Phil found himself his first real girlfriend, a girl named Donna Cass. Donna recalled Phil being very intelligent but intensely possessive. He would call to places he believed she was and question the people there about her whereabouts. And when he found her, he would grill her about what she'd been doing. Right? She said she believes this was his nature because it was what Bertha and Shirley did to him whenever he was at home, right? She said, this is from Breaking Down the Wall of Sound. By the way, this will be my primary source for almost everything. Mick Brown wrote an amazing book, Breaking Down the Wall of Sound. It's really, really good. We'll touch on some stuff about it later. But that and Ronnie Spector's book, which was Be My Baby, which is amazing. I highly recommend reading the audio or hearing the audio book of that because it's narrated by Rosie Perez, which is...
Oh my gosh.
Yeah. It's amazing to listen to Rosie Perez narrate this whole story because she's like, she's like...
She's Rosie fucking
Spanish
Perez.
Harlem type, she's got that whole thing. It's amazing. It's really good. From Breaking Down the Wall of Sound, quote, to Donna, it was as if Bertha and Shirley saw her as a rival for Phil's affections who was trying to steal him away from them. She says, I always felt they were in love with him or something. They treated him like he was a god. They protected him and they wanted to protect him from me.
Weird.
So this is like 15, 16 years old. He's already intense. Like they barely even had phones. And this dude is calling around, checking on his girlfriend everywhere she goes and like making sure her story matches at like, in like 15, right?
Unhinged.
I think it's, well, and here's the thing is this is something that I think is a lot of musicians are weirdos, right? It's like there's a certain thing that goes along with being a weirdo and being like that kind of musical genius that people can like, that you can hear a song and, and play it the first time you hear it, right? There's something that's like kind of hand in hand with the two personalities that kind of seem to go together a lot of times. So it's not weird to be weird, right? It's not weird to be small. It's not weird to be skinny. It's like, I know a lot of those people in the music industry, but it is weird to be possessive and shitty, and like, and treat, and have a pattern against women, which we'll see in this whole thing. During his teenage years in Los Angeles, Spector became obsessed with guitarist Barney Kessel, one of the most respected and accomplished session musicians working in the recording industry. Kessel was a jazz guitarist, but would often go on to play pop hits of the day and eventually became part of the legendary Wrecking Crew. If you know about Hollywood music in this time, the Wrecking Crew is everything. They played on every single song in the late 50s and early 60s, all the way to the 70s pretty much. They were the band you heard in the back of it. So Phil respected him both for his mastery of jazz and his seamless transition to other genres. At one point, Spector was given the opportunity to meet his idol. The meeting did not unfold as he had imagined. Bertha, his mother, insisted on accompanying him. During the conversation with his idol, Bertha, she does it, man. During the conversation, she begins questioning Kessel about career prospects, financial stability, practical viability, like a career in music, all this stuff. It's he's there. He's like, yo, dude, I get to meet this guitarist, this legend. And she's like, well, what's the money like in the job? She's just taking over control of this whole conversation. And Phil's just so embarrassed. Like this goes from being like, oh, I get to meet my hero in music to like, I'm just really embarrassed. I'm really embarrassed that I'm sitting here having this conversation. And this is his mom. His mom is in control of his life at all times. He's always stuck with that.
That's, okay. I did not realize, like, knowing about, like, the later stage of Phil Spector's life somewhat, I did not realize he started out dominated by his mom to such an extent. That does kind of scan.
It does kind of scan. Yeah. It's not always true, right? It's like a lot of times people are just shitty people, right? But a lot of times if you look into it, it is kind of like when your dad, when you're little, like, oh, he's just beating you up because he's got a shitty home life and he's trying to, sometimes that is true. Sometimes they're just bullies, but sometimes they got a shitty home life and they're dealing with something that you can't possibly understand. By the mid-1950s, Spector began forming musical groups with classmates and neighborhood friends. Eventually, he helped create a vocal trio called the Teddy Bears, consisting of Phil, Annette Kleinbard, and Marshall Lieb.
Teddy
The group
Bears.
formed
Okay.
the Teddy Bears. Yeah, that's such a 1950s name, too.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah, it is.
So the group formed through teenage friendships. They all went to the same school or whatever, and like they knew each other. And so it was like just a very high school organic situation, right? But then Phil's sister, Shirley, forced her way into the band as a manager, right? She immediately is like, as soon as they start having any success whatsoever, she forces her way into the whole situation as the manager. And then when Phil's like, no, I don't want you to be a manager, your mom's like, let her be the manager, Phil. You know, like
let him do it.
Immediately like takes his sister's side. So and she has no idea what she's doing, of course.
Right.
So like she makes horrible decisions all over the place. She's doing dumb stuff. But Phil is still, he's the architect of this whole thing. And he writes this amazing song, right? In 1958, while still in high school, Spector wrote and produced a song titled To Know Him Is to Love Him. This is where I'll make my first entry into evidence of Phil was seriously fucked up. Like I had some he was fucked up, right? But this is where we're going to get into Phil was seriously fucked up. Sophie, can you show Robert the image of the gravestone there?
Yep.
Okay, I'm seeing it. Yeah, Ben Spector, April 20th, 1949, father, husband,
420,
to know him.
baby, yeah.
Yeah, 420, hell yeah, brother. To know him was to love him.
Wow.
What was that? The name of Phil's song there was To Know Him Is to Love Him.
Ooh.
Phil wrote.
He doesn't have daddy issues. He's doing good. He's fine.
Yeah. Phil wrote a song, and he talks later. He says, this song is about death. You know, this is a song about death. And nobody noticed because it's framed in the 1950s kind of, you know, to know is to love. Yeah, it's very silly, but he had, you know, nobody else gets it. But if you listen to it, it's like, oh, okay, yeah, you were kind of.
It was like a huge fucking hit.
Yeah, it was a huge hit. It was a huge hit. It was a very big deal. It became a massive national hit, reaching #1 on Billboard charts. Part of its success came from Side Bastard's appearance, Dick Clark, American Bandstand. Side Bastard. Yes, that's right. Dick Clark is a side bastard today. I'm not going to get deep into him, but he basically invented payola. People would pay him to put bands on American Bandstand. And because of him, like literally, like that's what got out of control eventually and caused like the biggest, you know, one of the biggest scandals in the music industry for the longest time is like you have to pay in order to become successful. Thanks, dude.
Yeah, the pay to play deal.
Thanks for creating that.
Yeah.
So the success was astonishing, right? Given the band's youth. Phil is only 17 at this time. He's a baby, right? So it's massive. Like Sophie said, it was a #1 hit across the country. It was a huge song. Even today, it's still like kind of a big song like that. I looked it up. It had like a couple 100 million streams or something. It was insane. This experience kind of cemented because he was the architect of this whole thing. He was the boss of this whole situation. So this kind of cemented like his like dominance in the studio. This is what made him he was the producer on it. At 17 years old, you have a #1 hit in the country. Your ego's probably going to go a little, you know, it's certainly not. So, but this is where I'm going to hit item number 2 of Phil Spector was seriously fucked up.
But before you do that, as the boss and the producer of this podcast, do you know what time it is?
Oh, shit.
It is time for some advertisers.
And you know what none of our sponsors did? Is raise Phil Spector. I feel confident saying that. None of our advertisers helped raise Phil Spector. Fairly certain.
I believe it.
I was really curious where you were going with that.
Yeah.
Support for the show comes from Public, the investing platform for those who take it seriously. On Public, you can build a multi-asset portfolio of stocks, bonds, options, crypto, and now generated assets, which allow you to turn any idea into an investable index with AI. It all starts with your prompt. From renewable energy companies with high free cash flow to semiconductor suppliers growing revenue over 20% year over year, you can literally type any prompt and put the AI to work. It screens thousands of stocks, builds a one-of-a-kind index, and lets you backtest it against the S&P 500. 100. Then you can invest in a few clicks. Generated assets are like ETFs with infinite possibilities, completely customizable and based on your thesis, not someone else's. Go to public.com/podcast and earn an uncapped 1% bonus when you transfer your portfolio. That's public.com/podcast. Paid for by Public Investing. Brokerage services by Open to the Public Investing Inc. Member FINRA and SIPC. Advisory services by Public Advisors LLC, SEC registered advisor. Generated assets is an interactive analysis tool. Output is for informational purposes only and is not an investment recommendation or advice. Complete disclosures available at public.com/disclosures.
This is Martha Stewart from the Martha Stewart Podcast. Ever wonder how to make hosting look effortless? Here's a secret. Getting ahead of the mess with new Reynolds Kitchens countertop prep paper. Just lightly wet the counter beforehand so the paper grips and stays in place. Then lay down the Reynolds Kitchens countertop prep paper so drips and spills stay on the paper, not all over your kitchen counter. You can roll out dough, prep a party spread, or cook alongside family. When you're done, cleanup is as simple as lifting the paper and revealing that clean counter underneath. Effortless. You can use it for cooking and baking prep and even crafting, especially when you need extra working space. Because when the mess is already handled, you can focus on what matters: the food, the people, and the moment. It may look effortless, but now you know it's Reynolds Kitchens countertop prep paper. Take a tip from me: wet it, set it, prep it, done. Make it easy. Make it with Reynolds Kitchens countertop prep paper. Available now in the Reynolds Wrap aisle in Walmart.
Craving bold, authentic taste without kitchen chaos? True Nature Meats Hawaiian Kalua pork delivers. Slow-roasted tenderness with smoky tropical notes. Pre-cooked perfection. 30 years supplying the finest restaurants. Chances are you've already had their pork. Heat in 2 minutes, shred for plates or bowls. Complaints turn to second helpings and laughter. Real meat, real flavor. Go to TrueNatureMeats.com, code FREEMEAT for 20% off, plus free New York strip, Texas smoked brisket, and Mediterranean chicken with code FREEMEAT at TrueNatureMeats.com.
Time for a sofa upgrade? Introducing Anabe Sofas, where designer style meets budget-friendly prices. Anabe brings you the ultimate in furniture innovation with a modular design that allows you to rearrange your space effortlessly. Perfect for both small and large spaces, Anabe is the only machine-washable sofa inside and out. Say goodbye to stains and messes with liquid and stain-resistant fabrics that make cleaning easy. Liquid simply slide right off. Designed for custom comfort, our high-resilience foam lets you choose between a sink-in feel or a supportive memory foam blend. Plus, our pet-friendly, stain-resistant fabrics ensure your sofa stays beautiful for years. Don't compromise quality for price. Visit WashableSofas.com to upgrade your living space today. Sofas start at just $699 with no risk returns and a 30-day money-back guarantee. Get up to 60% off, plus free shipping and free returns. Shop now at WashableSofas.com. Offers are subject to change and certain restrictions may apply.
And we're back. Boy, I sure love those ads from, I don't know, probably the Portland Police Bureau and then some AI company.
No.
I wish you'd get sponsored by a whiskey company. That would be nice.
I know. I'll take your whiskey. I'll tell people to drink it. I have no problem telling people, to drink. There's no health consequences to that. It's a lot healthier than gambling.
I actually tried, I was doing social media for a little while where I was doing cocktails with Greazy, as a thing, hoping some company would be like, hey, this guy's doing alcohol content.
Give me some liquor, yeah.
Didn't work though. That was the only reason to do it. I literally just was like, some free booze, let's subsidize this control.
You're just throwing out a fishing line and hoping a brand picks up so you can drink for free.
That's all I've ever wanted.
That's how the internet works now. All right, where are we?
All right. So, while on tour, Spector was allegedly cornered by hostile individuals who mocked and humiliated him.
What are they mocking him about? Okay.
Being short, being a nerd, being short and nerdy. I mean, I'm
this
assuming.
Is still old enough that just being short and having glasses will cause you some serious shit.
Yeah. Yes. So keep in mind, too, this is important. He, at adulthood, was probably only 5'3". He did not, wow. When I say he was little,
jeez,
he was real little, right? So we don't know if this story is true. It's very mythological bullshit type stuff, but we don't know if this story is true, but it absolutely if it is true, it makes a lot of sense about who he would later become. He was physically restrained and urinated on during the encounter. The precise details vary depending on the source, and it's like kind of multiple biographies reference it. He said it. He told this story later on as well.
He gets ganged up on by a bunch of guys outside of a show who are making fun of him because he's a short little nerd, and they like hold him down and piss on him. It sounds like.
I think he's in the bathroom when it happens. You like he goes in to go to the bathroom after a show, and they like attack him in the bathroom or whatever.
Shit.
It's very like 90s like teen high school movie type situation.
Yeah.
You know? It's
almost
very
like
strange.
A Carrie type deal or Heather's or something like that's intense bullying when they're pissing on you.
Yeah. If the story is accurate, it appears to have deeply scarred him.
That would.
Yeah.
That's pretty bad. Yeah.
Especially when you think like imagine where he's at in this whole situation. Like he thinks he's like made it. Like he's on top of the world. He's got a number one hit and he's got money, he's got success. People all over the country are seeing him, come to see him play shows, and he just goes to the bathroom like walking off stage probably one night, and he gets jumped in the bathroom and pissed on. Like that's
wow.
Yikes.
Yeah, that'll do a number on you. I don't think it's gonna make him a better guy.
Yeah, definitely. Definitely not gonna make him a nice person. All right, so despite the group's success, fractures quickly appeared within the Teddy Bears. Annette Kleinbard used her earnings from the hit record to purchase a car. And not long afterwards, she was involved in a serious accident that left her hospitalized for an extended period. So she gets a bunch of money. She gets a nice car. She drives that car.
One of those 50s, 60s cars that it's steel. There's no seat belts. The car, all of the force of the impact is transferred to you.
Yeah. We're probably predating the National Traffic Safety Board requiring seatbelts by 20 years at this point.
I feel I don't know when. But.
So she gets in this horrible accident, and this is kind of the nail in the coffin for the group. But Annette says that she's in the hospital. She gets in this horrible accident, and Phil doesn't call her or come by or anything. That's it. That's just the end. He just leaves. He just goes away, and that's it. There's no band anymore. You know.
Okay.
So they're like high school friends. This is very strange, to
I see.
to get this, this far successful with your high school friends. And there's no incident. It's not like they didn't get along or anything like that. Yeah. They were all friends. And then he was just like, deuces, I'm out of here.
What do you think it was she could no longer provide use to him? You think it was something like that? Or we really can't even speculate?
I think you're right on the path, Sophie. I think you will find as we continue on, anytime somebody stops serving their usefulness to him, Phil is done with them. He just wipes them from his life, no problem.
Very transactional.
Which, spoiler alert, is the next person we're going to talk about, Lester Sill. Lester Sill, this is right after this time or during this time. This is when he made friends and a partnership with Lester Sill. Lester Sill was a decorated World War II veteran who fought in the Battle of the Bulge. He made his way into the music industry after that. And despite what you'd think, actually the nicest guy. Everybody's like, oh, dude, as soon as he walks in the room, he's the best, man. I love this guy, This is like...
if you lived through the Battle of the Bulge, it's hard to get bent out of shape about the little things.
One would assume, but also I've met a lot of very disgruntled war veterans in my time, and I've been like, God, why are you guys so mad, bro? Just I don't know, get an addiction that helps out or something. I don't know.
Right, get an addiction. That's always my advice to people.
Lester took a liking to Phil and assumed a fatherly role in his life. So he really does step into Phil's life. Him and Bertha and Phil start having problems at home. He lets Phil move in with him, He gives them connections. He introduces them to people. He tells everybody this is this killer producer, Phil, he's just helping him out anywhere. And he even sends him to Phoenix, I believe it was, to meet Lee Hazelwood. Lee Hazelwood, at this time, is a really successful writer. He would later go on to write These Boots Are Made for Walking, which is my girl Nancy Sinatra. She's so beautiful.
That's one of the finest achievements of our species, yeah.
Love that song.
So he sends him to hang out with Lee Hazelwood. And Lee Hazelwood, hates him. Lee Hazelwood is like, this motherfucker won't stop asking questions. He's always like doing stuff. He's weird, and he's just always around me, and I don't like him. And he tells him, never bring him back to my studio. I never want to see that guy again.
Wow. Okay.
So this is kind of seems like a pattern as we'll start to like emerge here, is that like either you love Phil or you are like, I can't
that
stand
guy.
that dude.
Yeah.
That guy's the worst. So after this, he moves on to a relationship with another girl. So he breaks up with Donna Cass or whatever. He moves on to a relationship with another girl, Lynn Castle. But it was short-lived as she couldn't stand his incessant interrogations. This quote, his behavior got too friggin' crazy, too absolutely crazy. Where are you? What are you doing? Where are you going? Controlling. So,
yeah, that sounds right.
So this is clearly a pattern. He is absolutely controlling. He's like definitely trying to like
that's basically what I knew about Phil Spector going into this, is that he was like super controlling in his professional and personal relationships. Yes. Yeah. That's kind of all I knew. Yeah.
And that is exactly it. And we'll get more into like this professional side of this too, but it is alarming early, you know, and like Sophie, we brought this up earlier, is like, it's like letting people get away with stuff, and how long can they get away with it, you know? And it seems like, I mean, it's the 50s. So let's be fair. Like, this is still the time where, or like early 60s. This is definitely the time where like jokes on TV were like, your wife is talking too much, give her the old 1-4 in the eye, you know?
Right.
You know, like the honeymooners are like, actively like to the moon, I'm gonna punch you right in the
bang
face.
zoom straight to it's like an aspect of like, because it's just like so common and universal at the time, right?
So nice to hear somebody else do an old-timey voice besides Robert, because Robert's is so good.
Straight to the moon, Alice. That's
so
not even a good accent. I
loved it.
Archie Bunker's shit.
It's great, you
guys.
guys.
You were doing your best.
It is. There's two different. It's interesting, the two different kinds of reactions to. Oh, I keep like doing things I'm not supposed to be doing, and I haven't gotten in trouble yet. Because like the two reactions are the one I have had about things that I won't talk about on air, where at a certain point, more than whatever the statute of limitations is ago, I was like, I'm going to stop doing this. Done this too many times. I'm not going to keep taking this risk anymore. Like, I've gotten lucky, but I feel like I'm going to stop rolling the dice on this.
I feel the exact same way every time my registration on my car goes more than 8 months out of date.
Right.
When I'm like, all right, 8 months, that's a long time to be getting away with this.
3 years I didn't register my car. Right. Yeah, stuff like that, where it's like, I probably now I'm gonna, or shoplifting, where it's like, I've got enough money now, I'm not going to keep taking the risk. And then other people who are like, no one's called me on my shit, guess I'm going to get even crazier. And then they become the president.
No reason to stop now. All right. So, spoiler alert on Phil. He doesn't get any better. This is his pattern. He keeps going. But they do break up. Him and Lynn break up. And he starts expressing a desire to relocate back to New York City. New York offered something that he really wanted, which was proximity to a legitimacy. In New York at the time, there is a building called the Brill Building. And we're going to tell you this. Well, I'll just read because it's better to read than to summarize, I think. Spector quickly embedded himself in the Brill Building ecosystem, the highly competitive songwriting and production factory that produced some of the most influential pop music of the era. The environment was famously ruthless. Young writers churned out songs daily, competing for placement with artists and labels. Success required speed, instinct, and relentless self-promotion. Spector thrived creatively, but developed a reputation almost immediately for opportunism. So I just read this thing where it's like, hey, everybody's cutthroat up in this shit. And then it's like, Spector immediately gets a reputation for being opportunistic in a cutthroat building. To be opportunistic, to be like that in a cutthroat building, you definitely... it's
in the music industry, to be a cutthroat, for people to be like, that guy's fucking ruthless is something. Yeah.
Multiple collaborators from this period later accused him of aggressively positioning himself for credit and financial participation in projects that were often collaborative efforts. There were recurring stories of Spector inserting himself into songwriting or production roles and minimizing the contributions of others once success became likely. In some cases, he was accused of leaving collaborators off credits entirely, a move that not only deprived them of recognition, but also cut them out of long-term royalty income. So he's already just ruthless. So there's something that I want to bring up here, which is about the way that writing works or writing a song works, right? Which is like the deal is if there is no prior agreement, all right? If two people just walk into a room and write a song together, it is
and they didn't
50
not as part of a pre-existing business arrangement or whatever. Where there's already
they did
a contract.
not. And no one specified like,
just
hey,
spontaneous art.
Yes. If nothing is specified, it is a 50-50 split. Doesn't matter if one person wrote one word and the other wrote the entire song and all he was like, if you come into that, if it's 3 people, it's 33 to 3rd. If it's 4, it's 25%. Unless you have already agreed to something, that's what the like legal split is for this whole situation. So for him to come into like sessions and be like jumping right on, it's like I've seen this before. Like somebody walks in the room and starts suggesting things and you're just like, you just took a portion of my cut of this song and your suggestions were things I was going to do anyways. That's kind of annoying, you know? It's like, it's really easy to finagle in this time period, especially. So a fellow writer named Beverly Ross, who helped Phil, recalled his promises to bring her with him if he were to ever get into the right rooms, but he reneged immediately upon being granted opportunities. She saw Phil as a user, and she was eventually offered a staff job, but she declined it because she would have to see Phil every day. So this woman literally turns down a successful money-paying job writing at the Brill Building because she was like, I'd have to see Phil every day, and he is cold. I don't want to be around him. He's the worst, right?
Yeah, he's sketchy as hell.
I respect it. A man could be that annoying that you're like, absolutely not.
This is not worth the job.
The job is not worth my peace of mind. Please stay away from me.
We should all have that much self-respect.
Yeah.
Yeah, really. But, 2026, man, it's hard, man. It's hard to live.
You
got to
see
get
the market out there?
Netflix
Yeah, I
deals.
got friends searching right now. It's nuts.
All right. So this is from her, quote, I was so gun shy of ever becoming vulnerable to someone who'd betrayed me like that because Phil practically killed me emotionally. I figured I wasn't smart enough to handle the part of his personality that I understand. It was like Phil was born without a conscience and I was his victim. He could be so ruthless.
Wow.
So seemingly we have heard only from women that this is an issue, right? It's like this does not seem to be very much a male issue. This is
consistent, yeah.
Women around him have to feel the again, not to like give anybody an out or any empathy for somebody who's a shitty person, because like shitty acts are shitty acts and it doesn't matter. But you can see like this is kind of like an emotional and reaction to his mother and his sister pushing him, controlling him.
Sure.
And also too,
an explanation isn't absolution. Yeah.
I think I'm going to talk about this later, but so Phil, whenever he went to work at the Brill Building, after he got his money from the teddy bears, right? He made a lot of money. He had to actually take his mother to court. I know, it's so funny. He had to take his mother to court to get his money because even as a teenager, his mom was like, no, you can't be trusted. You'll leave us. You won't let us have any money. You won't take care of us. And so he's basically, even like going into adulthood, he's having to fight his mom in court over his own money because of the way because of the way that she is, the controlling nature of her and everything. So, it's like he's doing that while also controlling other people and doing shitty things to other women.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean so it's in part just kind of his revenge based on his shitty mom.
Yeah, he's just taking it out on other people.
Well, and also just he grew up learning that, like, that's what you do to people. Like, you can either be controlled or controlling.
Yes.
I'll pick controlling.
Absolutely.
Yeah, sure.
So being cutthroat, like we said, being cutthroat isn't weird in the music industry. Like, there's a lot of people that are famous for their, like, ruthless activities inside the music industry, especially in the old days or whatever. Mm-hmm. But to be in a cutthroat environment and be the cuttiest, throatiest person of that environment is like, okay, like everybody is like, no, Phil is the worst of all of them. Like, everybody everybody in the building hates him. Nobody trusts him.
Right.
He gets a reputation for just being like the dude that would show up all the time and just like jump in on things and take control and all this stuff. People don't like him. So one of the most important relationships Spector formed during this New York period was with legendary songwriting production duo Jerry Lieber and Mike Stoller. Lieber and Stoller were already giants of the early rock and rhythm and blues era and were responsible for shaping hits for artists like Elvis Presley, the Coasters, like numerous other artists. They were architects of the modern producer model, combining songwriting and arrangement and studio direction into a single creative authority. At this point, like music is changing really fast at this point, you know, because the technology is changing, the way that people operate is changing. It went from being like, oh, this is a band that plays this music to now like, we got a creative team. All these people are writing this stuff. And like, also too, this is really important. This is the first time in musical history that music goes from being marketed to adults to being marketed to teenagers.
Oh,
right?
Yeah.
Because prior to this, there has never been teenagers with money. you know, like teenagers just
they weren't an
didn't
economic force.
Right.
Yeah.
Yes, they
like
weren't an economic
as a
force.
teenager, you were just working in the mines and handing money to your parents so that they could buy starvation with it. Yeah, so you could afford to starve to death.
So this is the first time in all of recorded history, basically, that teenagers become a market, right? Wow. And this is really important to this whole overview of like where the money comes from and how they market to things and how they even write a song. Like, so it went from being like, okay, a band does all this to like a group of guys would get together in a room and start being like, okay, cool. Like I wrote this song. I was going to give it to this person, but you know, we should give it to this person. And that's why in this time you'll see a lot of like, you know, like Aretha Franklin songs that are also Otis Redding songs later or whatever, you know, like people would just write a song and give it to an artist. And then anybody who liked that song would also cover it because the money went back to the publishing. Like the performance is a minimal amount of the money. The publishing is the money. So these guys would keep giving these songs to other people, other artists and be like, you should do this song. And it just became normalized to do that. So the strength of the music industry went from being bands to being producers, right? And this is where Phil kind of slams hard into the industry. All right, so he falls in like he falls in with these guys Lieber and Stoller, who are like the guys of the time. They are the Max Martins or whatever famous producer, the Kenny Beats or the Dr. Dre's or the whatever you love. They are that of this time. And Spector admired them intensely. He studied their recording techniques, their business strategies, and their ability to shape artist identities from behind the glass. In many ways, Lieber and Stoller provided Spector with a blueprint for the career he wanted to build. Despite recognizing his talent, however, Lieber and Stoller never fully trusted him. Accounts from associates and later biographies describe them as simultaneously impressed by Spector's musical talents and wary of his personality. He was ambitious, obsessive, and socially abrasive. He pushed himself into rooms he had not been invited into. He demanded opportunities he had not yet earned. He hovered around sessions, absorbing information and inserting suggestions persistently, trying to attach himself to projects. But they kept giving him chances, right? Part of this was practical because he was good. He was very good. He was musically talented.
Yeah.
Yes. And so it's like, man, you ever worked with somebody who's good at their job but a horrible person?
Yes.
You know? Like we've all been there, right?
Sure.
Yes.
Yeah.
Like,
yes. Many a time.
Many a time.
Right?
Yeah.
And you're like, oh, Spector's coming to the studio today.
Yeah.
We're going to write a
I'm
banger.
going to make sure I'm not there, but
Yeah. We're going to write a banger, but he,
But he
fuck, I
sucks.
gotta sit in a room with that dick.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Their willingness to tolerate him also reflected that, you know, he represents the next step, like what I was just talking about. He's the next step in the evolutionary ladder of working in the music industry. You know, it's like he is the producer model that will become the tour de force in the industry.
That's that's a good note. I do want to say, you know what I'm willing to settle for, Will?
billions of dollars. I only want to become a billionaire,
would.
just for the record. And I'm sure I actually know that you do get billions of dollars from these ads, right?
I do. Billions, every single ad.
And there's no healthcare given to any of your employees. You are just like, you are a hardcore Jeff Bezos, man. This is amazing.
I actually bought Bezos's yacht just to sink, so that my yacht will avoid sinking the same way. You know,
I've heard about that
That's what
yacht.
we're doing with the Netflix money. Yeah.
Don't sleep on that couch, is what I'm saying.
Anyways, it's time for an ad.
Let's all think about what diseases you'd get from Jeff Bezos' yacht couch, and here's some ads.
Yeah. Jesus Christ.
Support for the show comes from Public, the investing platform for those who take it seriously. On Public, you can build a multi-asset portfolio of stocks, bonds, options, crypto, and now generated assets, which allow you to turn any idea into an investable index with AI. It all starts with your prompt. From renewable energy companies with high free cash flow to semiconductor suppliers growing revenue over 20% year over year, you can literally type any prompt and put the AI to work. It screens thousands of stocks, builds a one-of-a-kind index, and lets you backtest it against the S&P 500. Then you can invest in a few clicks. Generated assets are like ETFs with infinite possibilities, completely customizable and based on your thesis, not someone else's. Go to public.com/podcast and earn an uncapped 1% bonus when you transfer your portfolio. That's public.com/podcast. Paid for by Public Investing. Brokerage services by Open to the Public Investing Inc. Member FINRA and SIPC. Advisory services by Public Advisors LLC, SEC registered advisor. Generated assets is an interactive analysis tool. Output is for informational purposes only and is not an investment recommendation or advice. Complete disclosures available at public.com/disclosures.
Ever wonder how to make hosting look effortless? Here's a secret. Getting ahead of the mess with new Reynolds Kitchens countertop prep paper. Just lightly wet the counter beforehand so the paper grips and stays in place. Then lay down the Reynolds Kitchens countertop prep paper so drips and spills stay on the paper, not all over your kitchen counter. You can roll out dough, prep a party spread, or cook alongside family. When you're done, cleanup is as simple as lifting the paper and revealing that clean counter underneath. Effortless. You can use it for cooking and baking prep and even crafting, especially when you need extra working space. Because when the mess is already handled, you can focus on what matters: the food, the people, and the moment. It may look effortless, but now you know it's Reynolds Kitchens countertop prep paper. Take a tip from me: wet it, set it, prep it, done. Make it easy. Make it with Reynolds Kitchens countertop prep paper. Available now in the Reynolds Wrap aisle in Walmart.
Craving bold, authentic taste without kitchen chaos? True Nature Meats Southern Barbecue Chicken Breast delivers. Juicy, pre-cooked chicken with classic sweet smoky sauce. Full of soul. 30 years supplying the finest restaurants. Chances are you've already had their chicken. Heat in 2 minutes, served with sides or buns. Complaints turn to second helpings. Real meat, real flavor. Go to TrueNatureMeats.com. Code FREEMEAT for 20% off. Plus free New York strip, Texas smoked brisket, and Mediterranean chicken with code FREEMEAT at TrueNatureMeats.com.
Tired of spills and stains on your sofa? Wash away your worries with Anabay. Anabay is the only designer sofa that's machine washable inside and out, starting at just $699. Plus, Anabay sofas are pet-friendly, stain-resistant, and feature changeable slip covers and modular pieces. Get up to 60% off site-wide with a 30-day money-back guarantee. Visit WashableSofas.com to get yours now. That's WashableSofas.com. Offers are subject to change and certain restrictions may apply.
We're back. The answer was gonorrhea. All right, well, let's continue.
All right. So this is where Phil starts really developing his understanding of how records are made. This is a learning environment. This is the professional environment of writers in New York. This is his high school or college or whatever. This is his moment. He absorbs all that. And he starts really understanding the recording studio and the process of recording is like the music itself. The music comes from the environment that this stuff is made in as much as anything else. And this is kind of like a new concept because, music is, we're in the 60s right now, right? We're in the 60s. We only really started having reasonable sounding recorded music 10 years prior to this. Before anything like that, before 10 years, like we only got, everybody say thank you to Adolf Hitler right now. Thank you, Adolf. Without.
No.
One of his many contributions to the recording industry.
To the world was we got post-World War II. Do you know this about Hitler? This is actually a really funny
absolutely, because it was huge to him. He famously believed and wrote about this in Mein Kampf that the best way to convince people of anything was the human voice, that the pure human voice was the best tool for influencing people.
And at the time, the Brits were so confused. At the time, exactly, literally, he was ahead of the curve on that shit.
He would have been a podcaster. Oh my
Adolf
God.
Hitler, the world's first podcaster. Amazing.
That's right. That's right.
Yeah, it's like the British were all baffled at the time too, because like prior to this, like basically they had magnetic wire recording and they had wax cylinders that they could record to, right? And it was basically one shot, one kill. If you if you messed up, it was over, right? But magnetic recording actually, and it was cleaner. It sounded way better, like in comparison to like the old vinyls that they had. It was way cleaner. It sounded more pure. And the Brits were like, "How is this guy broadcasting from like 8 different cities in absolute clarity?" Like they're so confused at the time. They have no idea what's going on. All because Hitler's over there with the only magnetic recorder that's in the entire world. Because just turns out BASF, they're in Germany, which is still a company. Congratulations, you guys made it through the entire Nazi regime and all the backlash. Hats off. So without Hitler and his magnetic recording, we would not have the music industry.
They
brought the GIs. The GIs brought it back in the 40s. To America. We started tinkering with it. By late 50s, we have Les Paul and Bill Putnam, basically the gods of recording.
Folks, if it hadn't been for Hitler, none of us would have been able to hear the Mighty Mighty Boss Tones album about George Floyd. And what kind of America would that be?
I so desperately want to take the time. 5-second story. I once went to a concert, and you know the guy that dances on stage and that's his only job? Somebody threw a shoe and it hit him right in the fucking face, and it took him completely out, and they stopped the concert, and they were like, "We're not going to play." And somebody goes, "Who cares?"
Wow. Wow.
That's my favorite Mighty Mighty Boss Tones story. All right. So, sorry, I was on a little tangent there. Hitler gave us recording, but it's very new. Recording is very new, right? So the way that they record is changing by the day, right? It's like people are discovering new things. We go from a single track to record to now we have 2 tracks and you can bounce back and forth. And now we have 4 tracks. And then the next thing you know, they've got a whole console that they've made that, and these guys are literally building them themselves. Like Bill Putnam was like hand building his own consoles and everything. And so they now have some technology. It opens up the world of recording. Prior to this, if you were a band, that was the only way to record music, right? You had to stand all around this horn and everybody like make their noise, and whoever was like the loudest in the horn is the loudest. So you put the vocalist the closest, and you put the drummer way the hell back, and like, you have to, it's complicated. It's you're so concerned with just getting a recording that you don't have really time to think about the artistic direction of the recording. And so this moment in history, the late 50s, early 1960s, this is the moment that changes all of recorded music, and why obviously I'm such a big fan of this. As someone who considers himself to be a stereophile Spector, I absorb a lot of his music, and I think that this is like how I try and portray myself in a lot of this stuff without all the, well, actually, we same number of ex-wives. That's great. We have the same number of ex-wives at 3. We're crushing it. Woo!
But without the other crimes.
Without the other crimes.
Yeah.
All right. So rather than treating musicians as equal collaborators, Spector increasingly saw them as interchangeable components in a larger sonic structure. If one player failed to achieve the desired result, another could replace them. If a vocalist lacked the emotional texture he wanted, he could manipulate arrangement, echo, orchestration, reverb, all these things to compensate.
So
and it would later evolve. Sorry, go ahead.
No, this is like, and it seems like this is in a lot of ways the birth of the end of like music transitioning away, popular music transitioning away from these are people who like make something like art that they want to share with people to this is a product, and we can cut out pieces and slide in pieces wherever we need to.
100%.
Yeah.
This is absolutely the birth of that. This is the birth of like, I am pitching this song to Ariana Grande because she might sing it great, but I don't care if Beyonce takes it.
Let's get bidding on this music. Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
It's no longer as much. I mean, I still think people put as much love and passion into their music as always,
we're not saying it's nothing but bad or whatever, but it's a big change.
Yes, it is a very big change.
Yeah.
So Spector closely studied records that were experimenting with dense layering and orchestral pop arrangements, particularly productions that emphasized emotional saturation through instrumental doubling and echo chamber effects. Songs like Under the Boardwalk, you know that song?
Under the boardwalk.
If you listen to something... If you listen to that, you will absolutely hear what are the early... phrases that Spector would draw from. It sounds basically like a Phil Spector song. It's got, like the orchestration is buried in there. It's like, the vocal is very upfront and everything, but everything else is kind of a mesh behind it. And it's not nearly, there's a lot of reverb and everything. It's not nearly as clean and clear as some of like, because that was the goal, right? It was like for so long, they're like, we just want to make something that sounds good. And then all of a sudden they're like, oh, actually we can make anything. So let's just make it sound crazy. Let's make it sound reverby. Let's do like experimentation with this stuff. So he starts to get into that. What distinguished Spector was not necessarily that he invented these techniques, but that he became obsessed with expanding them to their absolute extreme. Where earlier producers used layering to enhance song, Spector began envisioning arrangements where individual instruments disappeared into a unified emotional mass. Precision gave way to density, clarity gave way to atmosphere. Recording was not meant to be dissected. It was meant to overwhelm you, right? And this is like the big principle of the Wall of Sound. Anybody who knows about Phil Spector, like seriously knows about the Wall of Sound. The Wall of Sound was Phil Spector's creation in sorts. It's a way of recording that makes the music like very Wagnerian. Right? It's a Wagner opera. It's a bunch of noise coming at you, right? And it is meant to overwhelm you. There's often layers of percussion. It was all like layers of instrumentation. There'd be drummer on drummer on drummer, 3 piano players, like 6 guitarists. And this is such a big change because, like I said, prior to this, it was like, well, you just put a band in a room and then you record the band, right? And so now it's all of a sudden like, I don't have to reproduce this on stage. It doesn't have to sound like this. I'm going to make this, I'm going to put 10 pianos on here. I'm going to go crazy with this shit, you know?
Yeah.
Like, I can do anything? Okay, I want 10 pianos then. Bring in 10 pianos.
Fuck it.
It's also like kind of that like era of like that starts there where it's like the money is actually in music where they're like, I need 10 pianos tonight. And like someone goes out and picks up 10 pianos, you know? It's really amazing.
Jeez. Yeah. So like this is also kind of the birth of the insane expenditures for like crazy artistical wins aspect.
It later transforms into a cocaine budget, but it's a little early. It's early for the cocaine budget, but it will eventually become a cocaine budget.
Exciting.
So despite being signed to Lieber and Stoller, those two mentors that he had, he eventually becomes enamored with the co-founder of Atlantic Records, Ahmet Ertegun. And when given the opportunity to jump ship, he wasted no time, right? Lieber and Stoller are pissed. They're like, bro, what are you doing? Like, we gave you this opportunity.
We tolerated your bitch ass. And you're just going to dip?
Yes, we tolerated you. We let you come in.
Put up with your ass.
And he's like, actually, I was underage when I signed your contract, so it doesn't matter. You guys can't do shit. And he just walks out, right? And they're like, it's fair. That was true. We did, in fact, sign an underage person to a contract without having the proper legal authority. So, whoops, we fucked up. So he becomes friends with Ahmet Ertegun. Ertegun recognizes his talent, and he starts learning from him. He's just an old school record guy, right? And now, so Phil's now learning the business, right? He was in the music thing, and now he's like, I'm going to learn the business. Phil would find some reasonable successes during this time, remaining under the tutelage of his friend Lester Still, the old World War II veteran. But he would eventually desire more freedom to work as he pleased, and so he and Lester formed Phil S. Records, a portmanteau of their two names. I think that's the word, portmanteau, right? Whenever
portmanteau,
you use two words.
That's it. Yep.
Thanks, nailed it. Look at me with
right, baby.
I just guessed on that one. Thanks. he was slowly becoming the king of girl groups. It was actually around this time that he was dubbed the Tycoon of Teen, which sounds very questionable.
I don't like that. Don't like that. Nope. Visceral reaction.
Yeah. So by the age of 21, he had become an undeniable force in the industry. He had produced a string of hits. Like, I think he had like 21 top 10 singles in like 3 years or something. Yeah, it was like an insane amount. His first major success was Spanish Harlem, after his own, Spanish Harlem by Benny King. And then There's No One Other Like My Baby by the Crystals. He's a Rebel by the Crystals. Bobby Sox and the Blue Jeans had a song, Zippity Doo Dah. Lots of crazy hits, right? Yeah, crazy hits, right?
Yeah.
Here's a little piece though. The Crystals are sitting there. They had recorded There's No One Other Like My Baby. It did well on the charts. And then, a few months later, they're sitting there listening to the radio one afternoon and they hear a song come on. They're like, oh, this is cool. This is an interesting song. And they get done and the radio announcer's all, and that was He's a Rebel by the Crystals. And they're like, wait, what? Phil had begun recording songs and then releasing them as band songs without any of them having been on the song. He didn't care. He was just like, they're all replaceable to me.
Yeah.
You're all just singers. I don't care about you at all. Especially you're all female singers. You're all female singers. I will just replace you. He never does this to a man, not in his entire career.
Oh my
God. But to women, he does this.
Be slightly less obvious, Phil.
Oh,
be just like 2% less obvious, man.
Also,
Jesus
it's like,
hey, man.
Christ.
I would have punched him in the, I would have I don't care what day, I would have punched him in his face. I would have looked him at eye level and punched him in the face. I'm glad you bring that up. Yes.
I'm glad you bring that up,
good.
Sophie. Because another tick in the Phil is seriously like uncomfortable without his gun comes from the lead singer of the Crystals. And I forget her name. I'm sorry. I hack and a fraud just like you. So I forgot her name. But she tells a story in this documentary I watched where she's like, yeah, I saw that. And I was like, okay. So she goes and she talks to this mobster that she knows. And this mobster goes out and just beats the dog piss out of Phil. And it's like, hey, like, if you ever do
comrade
that
mobster.
again, yeah. Hey, man, sometimes organized crime has its purpose. Let's be fair, So
it's often more reliable than the government.
Wait, what was the name of the documentary you were just talking about?
This is from The Agony and the Ecstasy of Phil Spector.
Okay.
Cool.
So he has a bunch of successes. Zippity Doo Dah, Be My Baby with the Ronettes, You've Lost That Love and Feeling with the Righteous Brothers. He is on top of the world.
Yeah, Jesus.
Be My Baby.
I was listening to that one in an Uber last night, actually.
Yeah, Be My Baby is on I have a vinyl from the Dirty Dancing soundtrack, and it's on there.
Man.
It's so good.
Very funny story. Years later, Phil Spector, he was asked by Martin Scorsese to use Be My Baby for the opening of Cocaine Cowboy, I think it was. Is that the one? Anyway, it's the opening of it. It's Be My Baby. They do a whole thing, and he's asked, and he's like, no. And then they do it anyway. And he sees it. It comes out. John Lennon shows it to him, and he sees it, and he comes out, and he's like, what the hell? I didn't tell him they could do that, And so he gets all mad, and then he sues him, of course, which, is fair or whatever. That's fair.
Yeah.
That's fair.
Yeah,
you used the song without permission. That's fair. You sued him. But then he goes on for the rest of his life and tells everybody, I made Scorsese. Without me, he didn't.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah,
all
okay.
right. That was a bit of a
He
dick
tells
move for old
everybody
Martin,
for the rest of his life.
I don't think that's why.
And that, at the pinnacle of Phil's success, is where we will leave this episode, Robert. How do you feel about Phil so far? I mean, he's a little bit of a dick, but he's hit some bangers. He's hit some bangers.
So far, he just sounds like an asshole who's really good at his job.
I didn't know all that shit about his mom.
Oh, wait, no, and a huge misogynist who screws over female
I would have punched him in the wiener, is what I'm saying.
It's like if this was the end, right? You'd be like, I mean, not really bastard worthy. Like he's
yeah,
that
kind of a dick.
That guy
sucks. But like, there's no shortage of those people in the music industry, right?
No.
It's like
or
there
anywhere.
really is. Yeah, there's no shortage of horrible people in the music industry. I meet them all the time, and then I'm like, cool, this is why I stopped working with labels. I'm going back to my studio. I'll see y'all later. Yeah. But there's a lot of them, right? And you know what's tough too is for every awful person I meet in the music industry, I meet a legend that I'm like, you're the nicest person I've ever met. And like, how are you this good and this cool, and this person not that good and way shitty? Like, I don't understand it. I'll never get it. There's a weird proportion in that stuff.
Wild.
Robert, you can be found at I Write Okay, which I like to think.
Thank you for leading me in.
Yeah. I like to think of it more as like you telling your parents back in like the early 2000s why you can't move back home and why you're having success in Los Angeles, and you're like, I write, okay, you know.
It's just
That's
exactly
exactly
kind of
how I
came out of
read
that.
it
It was
too.
like me being exhaustive, explaining what I do for a living to people.
I write, okay.
Yeah. It's just that. Go away.
I can be found at Greazy Will, at Greazy Will Music. You can just Google me. I'm like on the internet.
All over it.
I have a recording course. If you want to learn about how to record from a Grammy-award winning engineer, I have one. It can be found at greazydoesit.com, or you can just Google me, or you can go to my... I'm on the internet, man. I'm on the internet. Like, it can't be that
he's
hard.
Out there.
It's easy to find people.
I feel like you guys will be fine tracking it. It's a Z. It's not with an S. I get a lot of Greazy Wills, and that kind of does make me
different
mad.
Guy, different guy, and you don't want to meet him.
I mean, if you told this on the podcast, who gave you the name Greazy Will?
Pharrell. It came from Pharrell.
Okay.
It came from a Pharrell session.
Exactly.
Yeah, it's very cool.
It's fucking cool.
Very cool.
That is
It was very cool. It's super cool, you know.
That's what I'm saying.
Yeah, you know.
This is the end of the episode, friends. We'll be back. We'll be back. Behind the Bastards is a production of Cool Zone Media. For more from Cool Zone Media, visit our website, coolzonemedia.com, or check us out on the iHeartRadio app, Apple Podcasts, or wherever you get your podcasts. Full video episodes of Behind the Bastards are now streaming on Netflix, dropping every Tuesday and Thursday. Hit Remind Me on Netflix so you don't miss an episode. For clips and our older episode catalog, continue to subscribe to our YouTube channel, youtube.com/@BehindTheBastards. We love about 40% of you, statistically speaking.
Ever wonder how to make hosting look effortless? Here's a secret. Getting ahead of the mess with new Reynolds Kitchens countertop prep paper. Just lightly wet the counter beforehand so the paper grips and stays in place. Then lay down the Reynolds Kitchens countertop prep paper so drips and spills stay on the paper, not all over your kitchen counter. You can roll out dough, prep a party spread, or cook alongside family. When you're done, cleanup is as simple as lifting the paper and revealing that clean counter underneath. Effortless. You can use it for cooking and baking prep and even crafting, especially when you need extra working space. Because when the mess is already handled, you can focus on what matters: the food, the people, and the moment. It may look effortless, but now you know it's Reynolds Kitchens countertop prep paper. Take a tip from me: wet it, set it, prep it, done. Make it easy. Make it with Reynolds Kitchens countertop prep paper. Available now in the Reynolds Wrap aisle in Walmart.
Time for a sofa upgrade? Introducing Anabay Sofas, where designer style meets budget-friendly prices. Anabay brings you the ultimate in furniture innovation with a modular design that allows you to rearrange your space effortlessly. Perfect for both small and large spaces, Anabay is the only machine-washable sofa inside and out. Say goodbye to stains and messes with liquid and stain-resistant fabrics that make cleaning easy. Liquids simply slide right off. Designed for custom comfort, our high-resilience foam lets you choose between a sink-in feel or a supportive memory foam blend. Plus, our pet-friendly, stain-resistant fabrics ensure your sofa stays beautiful for years. Don't compromise quality for price. Visit WashableSofas.com to upgrade your living space today. Sofas start at just $699 with no risk returns and a 30-day money-back guarantee. Get up to 60% off plus free shipping and free returns. Shop now at WashableSofas.com. Offers are subject to change and certain restrictions may apply.
Flag football is exploding, and iFlag is leading the way. As the Guinness World Record holder, iFlag hosts premier flag football tournaments nationwide for boys, girls, high school girls, and adults. From first-time players to elite competitors, iFlag delivers top-level competition, unforgettable experiences, and a community built around the game. Ready to be part of it? Join the movement. Find your tournament and learn more at iflag.org. That's iflag.org.
You're listening to a podcast, so you're doing something else too, like maybe scrolling home listings on Redfin, saving places you like without thinking you'll get them, because that's what house hunting has become. But Redfin isn't built for endless browsing. It's built to help you find and own a home. Redfin agents close twice as many deals as other agents, which means when you find a place you love, you've got a real shot at getting it. Redfin helps turn saved listings into real addresses. Get started at redfin.com. Own the dream.
This is an iHeart podcast. Guaranteed Human.